What's crack like? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know so, and my hat faded in the wash. Now it's gray, but I like it. It looks good. We're talking receivers. Oh man, it's actually a pretty rough week with receivers. Just because the bye, man. 6 teams on a bye. NFL, why you gotta do that? Why don't you take fantasy football into consideration? Stupid Roger Goodell. But yeah, before we get into this, go ahead, leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content and become a bro and subscribe. I post videos frequently. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get into receivers. We're going to start with this Thursday night game. We're going to Oakland. We're going to see the Chargers play the Raiders in a strangely, might be a pretty close matchup, I think. I think it's going to be a close game. You know what? In this, you're going to start both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Finally, I know I'm a Mike Williams hater, and he's been doing really well. But Raiders, the third first against opposing wide receivers. So this looks good, and these guys are likely going to be shadowed by both rookies. You got Mullen and Johnson for the Raiders, at least at some point. So they're going to be there. At some point, they're going to get that mismatch. So it's a good matchup. As for the Raiders, man, I'm gonna sit both these guys. I'm gonna sit Tyrell Williams and sit the hot new thing, Hunter Renfrow. I know he's been on a tear last 2 games, but it's just a bad matchup, man. That's a very, very good Charger secondary. So, just wait. Just wait. Hunter Renfrow, he'll have better games. I don't think this will be one of them. But let's go ahead. Let's go to, what is this? Detroit versus Chicago? Ooh, so I have a lot of starts in this game. Start with Allen Robinson and Taylor Gabriel. Detroit, man, they're 23rd against opposing receivers, and I mean, honestly, Darius Slay will probably be matched up on Allen Robinson, and Slay, he's not that scary this year. So I would start both those guys, and that goes double for Galladay and Marvin Jones. I think we're in a world where, I mean, I know last week they both popped off, but in tough matchups, one will, one won't. You just got to take the risk there. You just got to take the good with the bad. The Bears are 5th against opposing receivers, so I promise one will probably go off. Hopefully it's yours. And we're going to go to Baltimore. Actually, we're going to Cincinnati, but they're facing Baltimore. Might as well be in Baltimore because it's going to be ugly. There ain't no home field advantage there. Okay, so I think Hollywood Jackson. I think Hollywood Brown is worth a start. He's facing off against William Jackson, but the dude's a burner. I think he's worth a look in this. I don't think he is a bad play. He gets targeted when he is healthy, so just gonna say that. As for this one, it's like an asterisk. All right, so if AJ Green plays this week, I think Tyler Boyd's a good play. If he doesn't, I think Auden Tate's a good play. Baltimore, they're playing much better. Right now they're 24th against opposing receivers. I don't think that's accurate now. Now they have Peters, they got Humphrey, and now Jimmy Smith is healthy. Brandon Carr's there. So what I'm thinking is the wide receiver 2 there will be the guy getting the most love. So Auden Tate or Tyler Boyd. If AJ Green's out, I don't think Tyler Boyd's a great play. So that's just the truth. And start Willie Snead because it's Willie Snead. Come on. Probably with my luck, he's going to have a Mike Evans game, like 3 receptions, 110 yards, and touchdown. Don't do it, Willie Snead. Don't do me dirty. And we're going to talk about Buffalo versus Cleveland. You're going to start Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley, I've been, since the beginning of the year, I've been preaching about Cole Beasley, man. I know this team. The Browns are 13th against opposing receivers, so they're pretty good. But he's probably going to be matched up with TJ Carey, and that's a very good matchup for Beasley. I think that's a matchup he can exploit. As for John Brown, man, Got Denzel Ward. That's a tough matchup. I have him as a sit. And I got OBJ and Jarvis Landry as sits this week. OBJ will likely see White. And, I mean, honestly, if I had to pick one of these guys, if you had to start somebody, Landry I think is the better option. Not by much. It's a tough Buffalo defense there, man. Kansas City versus Tennessee. Ooh. All right, so Hill's a must start. Forever and always. It doesn't matter the matchup. Unless it's like the Patriots, because they're really good at shutting down your number one option. But that's it. So, yeah, he's a must start here. I got everyone else. You can sit everybody else in this game. Tight end wide receivers, man. The ball gets spread around too much. I mean, you can't really trust anybody. You don't know who's going to go off. Shoot, last week, guess who had the most receptions for Tennessee? Deion Lewis. Dismiss me with that, man. I'm not playing that. Sammy Watkins, tough matchup. I know the Titans, they've been kind of vulnerable recently, but not vulnerable enough for me to trust Sammy Watkins. And we're going to New Orleans because they got to face Atlanta. This is probably going to be a slaughter. Now, I do have a controversial sit here. Let's just start with that. I'm saying sit Julio Jones this week. I'm going to say it. Sit Julio Jones this week. He's got to face up against Lattimore. Lattimore has been shutting down. He's been elite this year. He got destroyed at the beginning of the year against DeAndre Hopkins. After that, he said, nah, no more. Just ask DJ Chark. Just ask Mike Evans. Ask Amari Cooper. I would say sit Julio for this matchup. But you could start Calvin Ridley. I think he's going to be able to exploit the fact that they're going to be so keyed on Julio. As for the Saints, I like Mike Thomas. That really goes without saying. You can always start Mike Thomas. But I think you can start Teddy Ginn in this matchup. This is Breeze is back. It's a good matchup. The Falcons are 29th against opposing receivers. So I think Teddy Ginn's a good sneaky play. And then we're going to go. It's the football Giants versus the football Jets. Jets. Jets lost to the Dolphins. I don't know why I said that. I'm not even happy. The Dolphins, they're costing their... We were so close to that number one overall pick. Then we had to go and win. Whatever. Teams just can't get tanking right. You know what I'm saying? But let's talk about this matchup because I think Golden Tate is a phenomenal start. Remember, Sterling Shepard just re-entered concussion protocol. He's probably going to get shut down for the season. Don't expect him. But that does elevate Slayton's status here. He should have a good game. The Jets are 27th against opposing receivers. So Golden Tate and Slayton, both good plays. This game should be full of good plays, right? Robbie Anderson. Okay, this is kind of like the last straw for Robbie Anderson. If you're a Robbie Anderson owner, hear me out. If you haven't already dropped him. If he doesn't perform in this game, you might as well drop him. If you can't beat the Giants secondary, they're 30th against opposing wide receivers, then it ain't gonna ever happen. Just saying. Jamison Crowder though should have a great game. This is kind of like one of the matchups I key on because their nickel corner is typically Grant Haley there for the Giants, and he's just been victimized this whole season. And you know what? Crowder, man, against defenses that rank 20 or lower, so 20 to 32 against opposing receivers, he tends to do good against, especially with Darnold. He at least gets 9 targets, so that's positive. So he plays well with Darnold against bad defenses. I like it. And then we're getting let's talk Arizona. Let's talk Tampa Bay. Everybody's a start. Literally. You're a start. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they're no-brainers now. I think they're literally ranked 1 and 2. I think they're pretty confident they're at the top 2 they're the top 2 scoring receivers, so it's kind of a no-brainer, especially in this matchup. It should be beautiful. Their Cardinals are last against opposing receivers. And then oh no, they're not last. It's Tampa Bay that's last. They're pretty close though. They're not too far behind. But let's talk about the Cardinals, because guess what? They're all starts too. Okay, Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald. This should be a thing of beauty as well. Because, I mean, Tampa Bay, they're 32nd. This game should be like 45 to like 48, man. It should be a high-scoring game. Andy Isabella should be a sneaky start this week in deeper leagues if you really need somebody. Because he could be that home run threat against a very, very bad secondary. And Miami versus the Colts. Ugh. Let's talk about it. Devontae Parker, he's a start. Didn't see that coming. It's a tough matchup. The Colts are 10th against opposing receivers. But, I mean, we don't know who the number 2 will be, but they're going to be competent enough early. They're not going to be, it's not like they're going to be great, but they should be able to fill in for Preston Williams, who's really helped out Parker. But he should be all right. He's seen at least 4 targets in every game this season and at least 6 targets in the last 3 games. I like that. That's okay with me. By the way, just go ahead and sit Allen Hurns, Jakeem Grant, and Albert Wilson. Just because they're in the number 2 don't mean they're going to, play like Preston Williams. Zach Pascal, he's a start, man. No T.Y. Hilton, man. It's a good start. Dolphins are 25th against opposing defenses. But sit yourself, Chester Rogers. I believe Paris Campbell's out for this game, but he would have been a sit anyway. These guys just don't give me confidence. They might rely heavy on the run game in this because they just can. The Dolphins are that kind of defense. And the Panthers versus the Packers. Ooh, Devontae Adams is my only start for Green Bay. He's the only receiver I trust in Green Bay. I mean, he had, 7 catches last week. Granted, it was like, they didn't go for a lot, but again, he's the only one I trust. It's a good matchup. The Panthers are 20th against opposing receivers. As far as the Panthers, DJ Moore I think is a start. Tough matchup. Packers are 9th against opposing receivers, but he should be matched up on Kevin Keene and not Alexander. So I like that matchup. Curtis Samuel though I would sit because he's matched up against Alexander. But Alexander is actually the more targeted cornerback, which is wild. Blows my mind. He's just good at defending, I guess. But maybe Samuel wouldn't be a bad play. I leave it up to your discretion. He might see targets. I don't know if he'll turn him to anything. But that's up to you. Rams versus Steelers. Fun fact of the day. I know you probably just picked up Josh Reynolds. Cooks will probably be out for a few weeks. Concussions are scary. Might keep him out for the remainder of the year. But I think both Robert Woods and Josh Reynolds are sits. The Steelers defense has been playing phenomenal. They are 18th against opposing receivers, which might be like, well, that's looks like a good matchup then. But Pittsburgh's only allowed they've only allowed one, or they haven't allowed a top 14 receiving performance since week 2. That's pretty solid. So yeah, and if anything, that top 14 receiving performance, it's going to Cooper Kupp. Let's be honest. So Cooper Kupp, your start. As for the Steelers, don't start Johnson or Washington. It's going to be a run. I think they're going to try to utilize the run a lot. However, I would start Smith-Schuster. I know. I would start Juju. Don't expect much from Juju. But Rams, they're good. They're ranked 12th against opposing wide receivers. But he won't have to I think what they're going to do, they're going to line him up in the slot a lot. And if that happens, he won't have to face off against Jalen Ramsey. So I like the matchup for Juju. That'll come back and bite me in the butt, I know it. Sunday Night Football. Vikings, Cowboys. Go ahead, start your Amari Coopers and your Michael Gallups because this could be good. The Vikings are 22nd? Yeah, 22nd against opposing wide receivers. Xavier Rhodes has not been good. Neither has Trey Waynes. So these guys can take advantage of that. I wouldn't start Cobb, though. They've been pretty decent against the slot this year. Diggs, you have to start, though. Stephon Diggs, you have to. I mean, especially with Thielen out. It's a tough matchup. Cowboys 4th against opposing receivers, but you have Stephon Diggs. You got to use him, Even if he might put up a 1 reception game. And the Monday night game, we got Seattle versus the 49ers. I like Lockett in this game. His lowest score this year was 7 points in half PPR leagues. He's just tried and true. He's safe. He's loyal. As for Metcalf, though, I'd sit. This is a very good 49er defense. You'd be honestly, if you do start him, you're gonna be just praying for the bomb, just like Andy Isabella last week. You're just gonna be praying for the bomb. I don't like being that guy, man. I don't want to be sitting there like, please get a 88-yard touchdown, Metcalf. That's the only way you're gonna be fantasy relevant. I don't trust that, especially against his good defense. But Emmanuel Sanders, man, he is just perfect. I think this is a good matchup. Seahawks 17th against opposing receivers, so not too shabby. Emmanuel Sanders should be fine. Dante Pettis and Deebo Samuel, though, I won't expect too much from those guys. I mean, Samuel could have had a good game last week, but he had the drop touchdown. So, I don't know. I won't trust it. That's just me. But that's it for the video. Go ahead and do the YouTube thing. Much appreciated. Much obliged. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.